The first section in this chapter is about visualization. So we're going to be practicing visualizing moving a net into a three-dimensional shape. Now we already did this with the cube exercise. So first thing is just knowing the vocab. A net is a two-dimensional diagram that you can fold to form a three-dimensional figure. So just like we did before, we took this net and we can go ahead and fold along each edge to make a three-dimensional shape, which in this case is a cube. So we are going to practice visualizing, taking this net and visualizing, putting it into a three-dimensional figure in our minds and answering this question. So suppose you fold the net into a cube. Now, what number will be the opposite to each face? I want you to try and visualize first. So answer these questions first with visualizing. Then you're going to take the net that I've provided you, if you want to, and fold it and see if you are correct. So for example, face 1 would be here. So if I were to fold this up, 1 would be on this back side of 4. It wants to know the face that would be opposite of that side. So I think it is 6. So if I were to check, I would take my net, I would fold it up into a cube. Here is face 1. When I flip it over, the opposite face is 6. So I am correct. So then I would try the next one. What face is opposite of 3? Well, this would be to the left of face 4. This one would fold down to the right of face 4. So I think it's 5. So again, I would fold it up. Here is face 3. On the opposite side of that is face 5. Sorry, I'm not doing a very good job folding this together. I want you to pause the video and try the last one. On the last one, you should have said the opposite of face 4 is 2, because when I fold up my net, here is face 4. Then I rotate it around and there is face 2 that is opposite of 4. Alright, let's try it again. Suppose you fold the net into a cube, what number is missing from each view? So now I'm trying to visualize not only folding it into a cube but also rotating it around to see those faces. So if I had fold this into a cube and 1 is on top, 5 would be on this side, trying to picture what would be next to it. So I think it is 4. So I would go ahead and take my net, fold it up. It only makes sense that 4 would be there because that's also what's touching the 1 and the 5. And when I rotate it around, if I can, it is 4. Okay, let's try the next one. When I fold it up, I have 2 and 3. So 1's going to come over here, 2 is going to connect to the 3. What's on the other side? I think it is 1. So I look to see, I put my cube in the correct spot. So 2 is on the top, 3 is on the left, and when I fold it up, yes, I do have 1 on that right side. I want you to pause the video and try the next one. So trying to figure out if I had 6 over on the left and 4 on the right, what would be on top? I think it is 3. So folding this up here, I have 6 and 4 on the left side and the right, and yes, 3 is on top. Okay, so now what I want you to do is answer the bottom 4 questions. So go ahead and pause it. Okay, 4 of the 5 other letters will touch side of face B, so now you're dealing with a different net, which is this one that I provided to you. You're going to cross out the letter of the side that will not touch face B. Well, the only face that doesn't touch face B is D, so that's why I crossed that out. You could also fold it up and see which face doesn't, but on a net, all those edges are going to be connecting to B. Number 2, which side of the cube will that letter be on? Well, if this is the format that they're looking at with B being on the front side, then that means D would have to be on the back side. Using the net, which face is the right of face B? Well, you can exactly see it'd be letter C. Simply from the net, it's to the right. And then using the net, which face is on the top of the cube? I said letter E because when you fold this down, E would be what's touching on the top. Now I want you to pause the video and do the questions that are at the top of the next page. So the next 4 questions, please. Okay, so on the top here it says 3 of the faces are rectangle. That is true. You have 1, 2, 3. So left, right, and bottom. 4 of the faces are triangles. That is false. You only have 2 triangles, front and back. And then last, the figure has 5 faces in all. That is true. There is a left, right, front, back, and bottom. And then last, circle the net that represents that figure above. So you would want 2 triangles and 3 rectangles. So the only one that matches that would have to be the very first one, because all the other ones have more than 2 triangles. Alright, so now we're going to change to a different kind of drawing, and it's where you're going to do an isometric drawing. An isometric drawing shows the corner view of a 3-dimensional figure. So if you need to, pause the video and write down that definition. But you will be given dot paper, and you're going to have to draw in the picture. So I already have mine drawn, so let me kind of erase it here. What I do is I start with one face. So let's say I start with this square right here. Let me use a different pen. Let's say I start with this one right there. I would go ahead and draw in straight down, representing this far edge. Then I would do a slanted side to show the bottom. I would go straight back up just like it is in that picture, and then it's a little slanted back. Then to draw the cube, I would maybe come over to this side and do that edge. Notice that it's slanting more towards the back right. So I would do that same thing on my dot paper. Go straight up and then connect it to make my square. Then if you want to fill in the top, you just finish making that diamond shape to represent this piece right here. Now you've just made this first square. So then we'd want to make either the back square or the top. I'm going to go ahead and make the back, so I could just go ahead and add on another square to represent that front face. Then I'm going to add this top one. Notice this top one keeps going straight up, so I'm going to again go straight up again. That takes care of this far left edge, and this one right here is the line that I just drew straight down. So I'm just following suit with what those lines look like. If it's slanted down, I draw it slanted down. If it's going vertical, I draw it vertical, etc. So then I'm going to finish doing this back edge and then going all the way around to find that cube. So again, you just kind of want to follow suit with whatever slanting or straight up and down those angles are doing to draw in those pictures. So I want you to pause the video and try the next one, please. So your next one should look pretty much like that. Start with one face. So I started with this front face here for this one right there, and then I moved my way back. So I went back right, and then I finished that cube by putting in the vertical lines and the top, and then you can either move to the top or the right. It is your choice. If you are having troubles drawing those, let me know so that I can come help you more one-on-one. Okay, and then the last type of drawing that we're going to discuss is called an orthographic drawing, and that's having 3 separate views. It has a top view, a front view, and a right side view. Excuse me, sometimes I call the front view a left side just because it is pretty much the left view. So here is the first question. Underline the correct word to complete the sentence. If you built the figure out of cubes, you would use how many cubes? Well, this is always one that people get stumped with. So if you counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, people typically just count 7. But the one that they're forgetting is the one that you can't see back there. So here I have cubes, and if I were to build this to the best of my ability, here would be my figure. The block that you're missing is the one you can't see, and if I turn the camera a little bit, that is this block right here. Okay, so in the picture you cannot see it, but you need to be able to understand the depth that obviously there's 3 of those blocks counting up. So there are 8. The next question is asking us to cross out the drawing below that is not part of the orthographic drawing. So here's the part where you're going to actually be practicing. It's drawing those different views. So this first one here, so if I were going to do the front side, that's actually the left, if you will, I come down here and I try and make it flush with the table, so I'm only looking from this left side. Okay, so if I'm looking from this left side, I only see these 3 blocks in one straight rectangle, and then I see a giant square in these 4 blocks. So looking at the pictures from that, the only one that matches that is your very last one. And so I would label the very last picture as being your front. Now if I came over and I did the right side, that would be looking at it from over here. So notice when I look over here, let me turn it just a little bit, I only see 1, 2, and then 3 blocks straight up and down, and then I have 1 block to the left. So I would be looking for a figure that has 1 giant rectangle 3 high and then 1 on the left. And the only one that does that is the second picture that you see there. And then the very last view is when you're looking from the top. So I'm trying to make the camera angled the way I would look at it. So here is the top view. Notice again you have 3 squares put together into 1 rectangle, and then you have one small one at the side. So the only one that looks like that is this very first one. So it takes a little bit of practice, and you want to try and do it with the picture. So obviously I've had enough practice that I can do it with the picture, and so you kind of want to angle your side view from this side if you're looking at the front and figure out what squares you would only be looking at. Same thing with here. But to get started, you may want to use these blocks and make that picture until you kind of have some practice. So my suggestion would be, come down to this second problem and pause the video, and I want you to try and make this picture, make the orthographic drawing, so the front, the right, and the top. I want you to try it without the blocks first, and then I want you to come back with the blocks. Okay, so if we make, there we go, here is the block figure that I've created. If I'm going to do the front, that means I'm looking from this side only. So if that's the case, I only have 3 squares going straight up, so 1 long rectangle with 1 square on the side. So I would be making, sorry if I'm making you sick, this would be what my front picture would look like. This would be representing the 3 squares that make the long rectangle, and then I had 1 square on the right side. So now I'm going to come over here to the right view, and I'm going to see 3 squares long with 1 in the middle and 1 on the side. So it's going to be kind of an L shape. So I drew it like this. You can put in those 3 small if you would like, and then you have 2 on the right side of it. And then the very last view is when you're doing it from the top. Looks kind of like a T, where you're going to have 3 small across and then 1 in the middle. So your figure should look something like that. Okay? I'm okay with you putting in the squares there. I'm more interested in you drawing the correct figure. Okay, that's a lot of information on this first lesson, but there's 3 different drawings: orthographic, isometric, and then the net. Okay, so trying to create those. So practice visualizing. If you can't do it, you want to try using either the blocks or the nets to help you. If you still have questions, let me know and I will come assist you.